Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Theosophical Society, I have great pleasure in welcoming you all for this 33rd session of the Wisdom for Living series of monthly programs. This was a key initiative of our President, Mr. Tim Boyd, who said ancient wisdom is beyond just ancient wisdom. I think you will understand what I mean. Theosophy means an integration of philosophy, religion, and science. So we are extending beyond Brahma Vidya or theosophy or spirituality or ancient wisdom. This is the broad outlook, and Brahma Vidya, you will know that it is the study of the self in Sanskrit, and Theosophia is a Greek name which also means spirituality or ancient wisdom. So we are at the 33rd program of the Wisdom for Living series of monthly programs. And for some of you who are coming to the Theosophical Society for the first time, including Dr. Aswathy, a few sentences about Theosophical Society. Theosophical Society was founded in the year 1875 in the city of New York, US, with the broad intention of human regeneration. And yesterday, I was surprised to find that a lot of spiritual leaders were born between 1830 and 1840. I was surprised to see Sai Baba was born during the 1830 to 1840. Sri Paramahamsa Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna was born between 1830 and 1840. Blavatsky was born between 1830 and 1840. And Henry Steele Olcott was also born in between 1830 and 1840. I was wanting to further explore the situation, and so I typed Sri Aurobindo. No, he was born a little later. 1874 he was born in. So a broad outlook as nothing happens just coincidentally. It all happens as a rhythm, as a flow of life. This is something I wanted to tell you and share with you. And today's program is the 33rd program, as I told you, a message from nature. And Dr. Aswathy will be talking about nature. What are all the lessons we can learn from nature is what she's going to talk about. I'll read out a few lines about Aswathy Rajan. Dr. Aswathy Rajan is an instructional coach and an educational mentor. She is a former scientist from the University of Madras. She worked as a principal investigator for a Young Scientist Project by SERB DST, Government of India. She has more than 12 research papers published in international journals and also a recipient of the Young Scientist Award bestowed by the Zoological Society, Kolkata. She is an author of the book, The Lady with the Magic Lamp, which was an Amazon-released bestseller, and Homeopathy Against Malaria, a scientific approach. She has multiple certifications like NLP, Train the Trainer, POSH Counseling Children and Adolescents. She also has a PG Diploma in Counseling and Psychotherapy and PG Diploma in School Counseling. She is a public speaker and talks about education, teaching, learning, methodologies, and soft skills. She is also a former principal of a CBSE school and has introduced several innovative programs for students and teachers. She is a passionate, distinguished Toastmaster, served as several leadership roles. Her mission is to build a global community of educators and students and provide training in various key areas to upgrade the process of teaching and learning. Aswathy.
Thank you so much, Ramkumar sir, for that introduction. I'm so delighted to be here with all of you today in this beautiful place of Theosophical Society. This is my first visit, and I was so excited and equally nervous because usually I speak about my research and soft skills or education, and this is the first time when I'm speaking something different, which is very close to my heart, but first time I'm officially giving a talk on it. So I'm having some notes because I'm too nervous, but I hope that you all will get something out of it when you leave this hall. Yeah, it's all about nature. So as you can read, the topic is a message from nature. right? So I'm sure that all of you would have ignored a message sometimes. Whenever you receive a message, maybe on WhatsApp or a call, at least once in your lifetime you would have done that. You would have ignored, the message would have remained unnoticed. Have you done that? Anyone here? Yes? Sometimes we see a group in which we are part of, and there are almost 100, 200, 100 messages. So all those messages, they remain unnoticed. But this is something serious. This is a message that nature is trying to give us. So before getting into the talk, let me talk something more about me, my journey as a zoologist. So my journey started as a zoologist, as an observer. So I used to focus more on the process, on the data, and on my research basically. But slowly with time, I transformed into a reflector. So I became a reflector because I started to understand or pay more attention to the cues that nature was giving. I started to look beyond the processes or data. And it actually transformed the way I used to think, the way I used to deal or manage things. It transformed me. And I decided that all these learnings that I'm getting from nature, or the perspective in which I'm looking at nature, I should share with others too. And that's how I started this morning walk reflection. So morning walk is part of my routine. I think from more than 20 years I'm doing that. I'm a 5 a.m. person and goes for a morning walk. And this is a me time. It's a time when I just keep all my senses open, free, and try to receive those messages that the nature is giving me. It can be just feeling the breeze, or just listening to the birds, swaying of the branches, or any sound that is happening, or even the silence of nature. So I used to observe those things and try to reflect and understand what message nature is trying to give me. And this is just a short video that I usually.
Good morning, everyone. Friends, today while walking, I found a broken branch that was still attached to the tree and haven't fallen yet. I realized that whatever happens in nature, nature never panics. The tree did not try to fix it. It was continuously growing, focusing on the newer leaves, deeper roots, stronger branches. And my dear friends, that was a strong realization that how easily we overestimate ourselves and believe that we are responsible to fix everything, save everything around us. People, situations, emotions, and during the process, we go into a deep guilt and start blaming ourselves for not being able to fix or save things. My dear friends, nature shows us the wisest way to grow. It just leaves things on its own and then let it decide whether it wants to heal on its own or fall away. So next time, if you are in such a situation when you find things broken around you, remember, it's not you who's responsible. Let it be. Let it heal or fall away. Have a beautiful day, my dear friends. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so this is just a glimpse of what I do during my morning walk as the reflection. And this is a book that I'm coming up with. The title is almost same, Message from Nature, The Musings of a Zoologist. So I have compiled all the learnings that I have received from nature. Basically more about the life lessons and leadership lessons that we can learn from nature. So just to tell something about me. So now today, I'm going to talk about the connection we have with nature, or I should say a forgotten connection that we have with nature, and what happens when that disconnect is there, and How can we reconnect with nature? So I'm going to talk about all these things. So before I get into the talk, I want all of you to go through this small exercise. Are you all ready for that? Okay, thank you. So I want all of you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes and feel the nature around you. I know we are in a closed room, but still we have strong imagination. So imagine you are amidst nature and try to feel the breeze around you, the birds chirping, the wind blowing, the small moments happening in the nature. Or just feel the air around you. Feel the air entering into your body. Thank you. Now I want one of you to tell, how did you feel? Anyone? Relaxed? Any other answers? Calm. What else? Tranquil. Wow. Serene. Thank you. So basically, when we feel connected to nature, we feel all these. We feel calm, serene, in peace. But unfortunately, what happens is we all have built a wall between us and the nature. Wall, not necessarily the concrete wall, the wall which is digital or psychological. And due to that disconnect, it leads to many crises which affects our health, our mind, our wisdom. So I'm going to talk about all those today. So before that, let me talk something about the connection, the profound connection that we have with nature, and why it matters so much to us, and why it matters more than ever before. So there is a concept called biophilia effect. Have you ever heard about this term, biophilia effect? So biophilia effect says that we have this innate quality to connect with nature. So it's not something that is evolutionary guided, because if you see the history of evolution, almost all the civilizations or the human evolution, if you see, we are closely associated with nature. And the development or the recent development that we see, it is so recent that our body is still trying to adjust with that. Our body is still trying to cope up with that. So it is more biologically related. So that is what biophilia affects, that we all always have this innate ability to connect with nature. And if you see the neurosciences or the psychology also, it says that when you are close to nature, when you are having more exposure to nature, you have better mind, the state of mind, your the stress hormones that you call it as cortisol, it is low. The levels of cortisol is low. You have less chances to get affected by anxiety, depression. Even if in the health sciences, if you see, they say that when you are exposed more to nature, you are less likely to have problems like blood pressure or immunity related issues or sleep related issues. So all these says that our body is already having some connection with nature. And whenever we get that opportunity, or whenever we get that thing, our body tends to connect or reconnect with nature. But we unfortunately stop or build that walls. So what happens when that disconnection happens? So there is a syndrome which is called as nature deficit syndrome. It is not a medical term. It's not a medical term, but very strong phenomena which is used in education, environmental sciences, or used by psychologists also. So what happens here? when humans grow this wall or they grow distant from nature, it has different, it affects us very in different ways, like physical effects. So we have the sedentary life, we have weakened immunity, sleep disturbances. All these are effects which you can see easily. And there are behavioral and ethical effects also, like you, and this is very common in young students, young kids. You would have seen maybe in your families or around you that they have reduced empathy, lower environmental responsibility, increased aggression, which is very common in student kids of today. They are very impulsive in nature. Cognitive effects like reduced attention span. We know that we don't have longer attention spans. We are more into the digital world where we love to watch 30 seconds video and that's all. But all these things can be affected when we are increasing that disconnect. Increased mental fatigue, lower creativity and problem solving ability. And about emotional and psychological effects, higher levels of stress and anxiety, increased risk of depression, reduced emotional resilience. So as you can see, all these are the issues that we can face when we have disconnect with nature. So what are the reasons? We all know these are all basic reasons we know, but still we ignore, that we stay indoor, we have we spend more time on the screen dependency is there, or academic pressure or work pressure. We are not able to manage our work and the work and personal life, or we are stuck in the urban spaces in this concrete buildings. We have limited green cover. Greenery is reducing. Of course, not every place is as lucky as this Theosophical Society. So these are some of the reasons why this disconnect is happening. But if you look at the bigger picture, so these are the things that is affecting you as an individual. So as an individual, I'm getting affected if my health is causing any problem, if my mental health or physical health is causing any problem. But if you look at the bigger picture, biodiversity loss is accelerating at an unprecedented rate. So which, if you see, 10 to 100 times higher than the natural baseline rate. It is that much high, which is really alarming. Approximately 1 million species are at risk of extinction in the coming decades. And 35% of global wetland have been lost since 1970. And which means that 35% increase in the waterborne diseases. And which means that we'll lose those water bodies because they are not fit for anything. And we all know that how much many countries are, they are not having proper water, potable water, and they are struggling with this problem. Almost half of the world's flowering plants now face extinction, which means that threatening pollination system that sustain our food security. So these are some bigger problems that we mostly ignore, which exist, but we are more concerned about our individual problems. So these are not just abstract numbers, if you see. These are the results of, or these are the crises, but this crisis is a mirror which shows or which tells that this is happening because of the disconnect we are causing, disconnect we are having with nature. So now, in the second part, so I spoke about how nature affects us, or what is the connection between us and nature. Now, what is the lesson that we learn from nature? I'll tell you why I'm talking about all these things, the nature's wisdom and what nature teaches us about living, about life, about love, about leadership. So these are the four main lessons that I would like to discuss today. One is interconnectedness, cyclical wisdom, radical generosity, and quiet resilience. So these four major lessons that we can be of any age, we can learn from nature. So first one is interconnectedness. Have you heard this term called Wood Wide Web? Anyone here? Wood Wide Web, yes, I can see a few hands raised. So, Wide Web is a beautiful concept that exists in nature. You know web, right? It is the intricate network where things are interconnected. Imagine, now I'll go back to this picture. Imagine a forest, a dense forest like this, Amazon forest or a tropical rainforest. So in this forest, hardly the sun rays are touching the ground. Sometimes it is so dense that sun rays also cannot touch the ground, but still the forest flourishes so beautifully. We have different types of plants, trees, grasses, everything they coexist. And that happens because of this phenomenon called wood wide web that exists beneath the ground. If you see beneath the ground, the roots of the trees, they are interconnected. They are connected with each other. And there is a fungus that connects them all together. It's a highly intricate, complicated network down there. So, what is happening through this network? Through this network of roots, trees are sharing their nutrients with each other. So there is competition also. You can see that in that limited place, all sorts of plants are growing. So there must be some competition too. There are some trees that are growing very well, that can absorb a lot of nutrients and grow very well. And there are some plants that are struggling to grow. In that case, the nutrients are shared from one tree to the other. And that kind of interconnectedness happens in nature, and that concept is called wood wide web. So unfortunately, our modern paradigm often emphasizes individuals' achievement. We always think about our own achievement, the competition, or what we are getting out of it, my goal. But in nature, it is totally opposite. Nature doesn't think about its own growth. It thinks about the connection. It thinks about the mutual growth. And that's the beauty. So, if you see, for those seeking love, those who believe in love or seek love better, they recognize that love, like nature's networks, okay, the nature networks work that way, is about understanding that the other person's well-being is also important, is inseparable. The other person's well-being or its growth is inseparable, and that what nature teaches us. And if you see a leader, of course, a leader cannot grow without the growth of the members associated or the team with whom the leader is working with. So it's important that the team as a whole grows. So that's what we can learn from nature when it comes to interconnectedness. The second learning is cyclical wisdom. Now in nature, you can see that every autumn, what happens? The trees, they release their leaves, they shed their leaves. And it doesn't mean that things are lost or this is the end, right? It doesn't mean that. Yet beneath that apparent death, something crucial is happening in nature. Something very precious, something very important is happening. And that is, nutrients are being recycled. The tree is conserving the energy so that it can regrow, so that the leaves can grow again. And that's why we say that winter is not the enemy of life. It's just a complement. So nature operates in cycles. If you see, it always operates in cycles, not in linear progressions. And death feeds life and endings enable beginnings. That's the fact that nature shows to all of us. For the personal living, to live wisely means accepting the change. If you accept that change, whatever is happening, the loss and the periods of dormancy where the growth is not happening, it is hidden, but still some activities are going on. That period is called as dormancy, the period of dormancy. So you need to accept all these things, and they are part of growth. So that is what nature teaches us, and that is the wisest way to live. When it comes about love or loving your people or loving each other. The deepest love includes the willingness to let go, right? And that is what you can see here when we see the cyclical wisdom, to allow those who are close to you, who are for whom you care, to change, to transform, to grow on their own. That is the true love, not no controlling them. So that is something that we see during this classical wisdom. For leading, great leaders understand that organizations like ecosystems, they need periodical renewals. Definitely, it cannot be stagnant always. It needs to build, rest sometimes, to reflect, and then grow again. So these are the traits that we see nature following always. Nature thrives on that. And we tend to ignore these things. The third lesson is about generosity, the radical generosity. So if you see, a tree produces thousands of seeds, right? Thousands of seeds, and out of those thousands of seeds, only few grows. Same way, a flower produces so many pollen grains. Not all the pollen grains are pollinated. But still, abundance is what nature believes in. So, tree never asks whether this seed will grow tomorrow or not. The flower never asks whether this pollen will be pollinated or not. It just gives in abundance. And that is a very profound and very strong lesson that we can learn from nature. To live well means to contribute to the world. That is the best way to live. It is not about what or how much to give. It is just to give whatever you learn. We say that knowledge sharing is knowledge multiplying, right? So it is based on the same theory, that when you share with others in a generous way, you learn better. And that is, again, a beautiful way to live. The fourth point or fourth lesson that I am sharing here is quiet resilience. So we all know that nature is very resilient, right? So now, so like adaptability, you can see that adaptability is the key to survival. You need to adapt, you need to change or transform whenever it is required or whenever it is needed. If you are adamant and staying with the same process or same philosophy, it never helps. So you have to embrace the change that comes. It comes with seasons, changing. Any calamity happens, nature adapts to the changes. And that's how nature shows that how resilient you should be. And resilience is very important when it comes to leadership, when it comes to handling or managing or dealing the relationships, the way you live, everywhere. But now there is a very urgent need or an urgent call. So because I told you that these are the lessons that you can learn from nature. So it means that these lessons are changing you. It can change you as a person. It can make you a better person, better, bolder, and brighter person. But there is an urgent call. What is that? That this crisis is not just crisis happening to us. It is the crisis we are creating through disconnection. Now you must be wondering that why we spoke about these lessons. Now every species that goes extinct, every forest cleared, every river polluted, every harm that is caused to the nature, these are consequences of our separation from nature, right? All these are the consequences of our actions. And we destroy, so we destroy what we do not love, and we do not love what we do not know. And that is one reason why I shared all those lessons with you, because unless we know and understand nature more closely, we cannot love that. We cannot love nature. And if we are not able to love nature, we cannot save them. So that is one reason, very important reason, to understand or to know about nature, the things which is happening around you. Because we are not outside nature, we are part of nature. So that is why these lessons, when you get these messages from nature, it keeps you connected with nature. Now, how to do that? How can we reconnect with nature? What are the actions that we can take to reconnect with nature? So, we have some 4 simple ways through which we all can reconnect with nature. And to start with, the first one is presence. To be present. Present. It's very simple, a very simple thing which I'm sure most of you must be doing it. If not, you can still think to restart or to start that. It's just spending 10 minutes from your daily routines, daily routine for nature. Just spend some time outside, maybe in a park nearby, or a walk near the beach. Or if you don't have any such place, just stand outside your home or in the balcony and feel the nature around you. Just see the trees. Or just sit near the window and just see the next tree, the tree that you can see outside the window. So if you do these kind of this activity at least for 3 to 4 days consistently, you will see that it is making some changes in your daily life, in your routine. And not only that, your mental state, your health is also improving in a positive way, because you will see that you are less stressed now, you are not having any anxiety issues, you are becoming more creative. So all these changes you will start noticing, but only thing is you have to do it consistently for 3 to 4 weeks at least, and then it will become a habit. So this is the first way, just to spend 10 minutes with nature. I'm not saying that you have to run or do workout or to go for a regular walk or something. Just spending time without thinking anything else. Just keep your senses open. Try to observe things, see things, listen to that, feel the nature. That's all. So that really helps. The second thing which you all can do is know your ecosystem. How many of you knows that what kind of trees are there in your area? Very few, right? Not all will pay attention to all these details. So this is another way to build that connection or to reconnect with nature. Spend some time, be like a naturalist. Find out what are the trees in your area, in your locality. What are the birds that are visiting those trees that you usually see around your area? Try to learn their names, see their behavior, learn their behavior. If you don't know, you can always ask people who know all these things. See if there is a water body near your area. How is it? From where it is coming? What is the situation? So all these small details, when you start collecting it from your nature, you will see that you start caring about nature more. Knowledge creates intimacy. That is something we all would have heard. So when you know the names, the characteristics, the behavior of all these around you, you see them in a different way. You see them differently. You start looking at them through a different perspective, through a different mindset. And then they will no longer be your background. They will be part of your life. They will be part of you, or they will be your neighbors, to simply say that. So you can try that. So when you go back to your home, just try to understand more about your neighbors. About neighbors, when I say neighbors, the trees, the plants or birds or any other things that is happening, exist in nature. Try to learn about them, and you will see that you are going to build a beautiful connect. Third one is gratitude. How many of you write gratitude journal or journaling? Any kind of journaling? Okay. Yeah, a few people, they do it. So it's a beautiful habit that you all can start if you are not doing that. So gratitude journaling is writing about things you are thankful For example, during the day you would have met someone, he would have taught you something or helped you, anything for which you have gratitude, for which you are thankful, you write about it. That is gratitude journal. So weekly once, if you are not writing, at least think about it. Think about things that nature gives us. It can be very simple thing. It can be the food you eat. We get it from nature. It can be the water you drink. Or it can be the shelter where you live, your house, the raw materials, you get it from nature. It can be anything. It can be the furniture on which you are sitting. Very small things which are mostly unnoticed. We usually don't think about it. But when you spend some time and when you think about all these things and start noticing and start writing or start reflecting on it, you will see that you will develop again a connect with nature. It's a very simple way, but very strong, powerful way to do that. So gratitude basically it shifts us from entitlement to appreciation. You will start appreciating everything that is happening around you, everything that is happening in nature. So you will not take things for granted. So next time, before wasting water, you will think about it. Or next time, if you are littering, you will think about it. I'm sure we all are responsible citizens. We don't do, but still we can teach others, we can tell others, and it becomes a part of our life. So this is one way to have that gratitude to build that beautiful connect with nature. The fourth one is reduce ecological footprint. So this is something very basic that we have heard or learned since our childhood. We learn that, save electricity, don't waste water, the pollution, don't cause pollution, or regarding transportation and everything. So all these things we have heard about it. So try to make one small change in your life. I'm not saying that do everything. I know in today's modern world it is very difficult to avoid certain things when it comes to transportation, consumption, or the water, the way we use water and everything. So it becomes very difficult. It becomes challenging. So try making one small change from today. One small change can be maybe avoiding plastic bags. We all do, but still, if you are not, you can think about that. Or maybe just use less AC. That can be one step we can do, right? Use less AC, try to avoid as much as possible. Don't waste water. Think about how you can use the water that comes from the RO machine. There is a lot of water get wasted. Think how can you use that. Maybe you can collect that water and use it for plants or washing something. So one small change, don't try to force yourself that you have to completely revamp your living style or change everything in your life. That becomes very challenging and difficult. So try to do one small thing now, starting from now. Do that one small change and you will see that once you are used to it and it becomes part of your life, it automatically flows. You will try to do other things and multiple practices you will incorporate in your life. So that is one way to build that connect. So this is where the love becomes action. And it's easy to love nature philosophically. We all speak about it and read about it. But it's harder to change when it comes to our daily practices or our lifestyle. So this way, when you are trying to do small changes, it really has an impactful output. So you all can try that. So you all would have heard about net zero. Yes, you have heard about net zero. Anyone wants to share what is it? Nowadays, a lot of hoardings and billboards are there about net zero. Many IT firms and all, they are also promoting. So net zero is reducing your carbon you emit, the carbon emission. If you cannot reduce, if it is that difficult that you cannot reduce, you have to balance it. So if you cannot avoid, you have to balance it. So that is the state that you need to, we all strive to achieve. That is the net zero. So we have to either stop or completely stop the carbon emission, or we have to balance it through different activities. So balancing is what I meant by reduce ecological footprint. For example, if you are using less electricity, or choosing some renewable sources. Many people, they are going for solar power, and if you are choosing such ways, it means you are lowering the carbon emissions. So that is one way to do that. Or saving water, which reduces energy used for pumping that water. So that is another way. So these are all small changes that you can bring in your life, and actually you see that you are contributing to that net zero state by doing or following these small changes. Sometimes we think that what can we do as an individual, or what difference it will make, but it goes like a ripple effect. If we make a change, it just goes to the next level, and it goes beyond our imagination, and the impact which you can see finally, it is truly magical. So the small change from each individual, it really matters. So that is what I wanted to share here. And here is an invitation for all of you, a deeper invitation to connect with nature. I just wanted to talk about nature in a different perspective, because all of us read and speak about save nature and do this, do that. But when we start looking at nature in a different way, as if we are, nature is not something outside, it is inside, right? It is inside, and we are nature, we are part of it. When we start thinking through this perspective, things completely changes, and that's where that connect start becoming stronger. So this talk was basically to build that reconnect, so that we can see nature through different lens. We start seeing nature through different angle or different perspective, where we can develop that connection, where we can receive the messages that nature is trying to give us in terms of the profound lessons it is sharing, lessons to live, to love, to lead. Not only that, also what crisis is happening because of that disconnect. So when we start looking through this angle, the whole situation changes. So that is there. And as you leave today from this hall, I invite you for this small commitment, and that is spend time in nature. At least if you are doing, I'm sure most of you are already doing that, part of this organization also. If you are not doing that, just start doing that. Start making that small change in your daily activity, daily routine. Not as a task, but it is basically a homecoming. It's like a homecoming. So don't think that it is a task, or it is one activity that I have to do, or I have to follow from now. It is just your homecoming. So think it that way and make that practice. As I mentioned earlier, spend those 10 minutes with nature. Just try to observe, feel nature around you. That will really help. And you will notice that how it feels to be among trees, among water, under the open sky. And you will start noticing that shift that will guide you to the next steps. That is why I mentioned that don't go for a whole revamp of your life. Don't think that I will change everything from now. Just make small changes, one step at a time, and you will see that everything just follows. When you start taking your first baby step or first step, the other step will automatically fall. So we all have knowledge. We know that all these problems that our world is facing, it requires changes in the policy, and policymakers should act, and all those things are right. That is all fine. But what about us? What we can do? We have the solutions already. We know the solutions. But how much we are acting on it, how much we are trying to uh, think or do it to bring that change. That is the question. So I want you to I want you all to leave with that thought when you all leave from this hall today, because that is a very serious message that our nature is trying to give all of us. So let's not ignore like that message in our WhatsApp. Let's take that message and reply to it in our own ways. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope that you will start thinking, and if not, if you are not practicing anything like that, from today you will think and follow something and start doing something for nature. So this is the QR code to connect with me. I have these videos that I shared in the beginning, so you all can stay connected with me, and we can also talk even before, I mean, beyond this keynote, beyond this session. So this is my, thank you. And I would also like to get your feedback, your suggestions or ideas also. As you heard in my introduction, I'm also associated with Mangrove Foundation of India, where we work for ecological restoration, restoring the environment, not only mangroves, but other natural ecosystems, water bodies. So I work for them from almost 15 years. I'm associated. So we can talk about all those activities. And if you have some suggestions or anything, any feedback, any kind of feedback for me, you're most welcome. You can scan the QR code and you can share your feedback. Thank you so much, and thanks a lot, sir, for having me here and giving me this wonderful opportunity. I know we have a very learned audience here and people who are already very close to nature. So I just wanted to give a different perspective, that how we can have that connect with nature. So I hope it helped. And thank you so much, sir, for coming up with this wonderful initiative of this education series. I'm sure it is beneficial for many. Thank you.
Thank you, Aswathy. It was wonderful. Thank you, Aswathy. It was wonderful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions, please. I have a question myself first. You said you go every morning at 5 o'clock and you have been posting on Instagram since ages.
Yeah.
So, what are the things I thought you will be sharing about all that? Can you share a few of that? What is it you saw and what is it you observed? What is it you were able to write in your.
Yeah, sure. So one example I showed you, that was one such videos that I spoke. So I just randomly I see, if I see something like yesterday I saw a bird with dry grass in its beak. It was sitting on a fence, and that gave me that thought that we don't know how long it will take for that bird to construct its nest, right? One thread by thread or one grass by grass it collects. Sometimes it takes a flight and it may not get a proper thread or a grass to construct also. But still every day it does that. It follows that consistently, persistently. So that was the lesson that I got when I saw that bird, that consistency and persistence towards your goal. Even if you fail one day, even if you don't see you reaching somewhere, but still keep doing and keep striving for that, be consistent, you will reach and you will construct your own nest one day. So that was the lesson that yesterday I shared. So something like this, whenever I see something, trees or birds or any dogs or anything, sometimes snails, so I just talk about that. Whatever I feel or I reflect, and whatever lessons I get from that, the behavior or the process, anything. So I share about that in my videos.
What else? Can you share a few more
Okay.
for people? Because finally, I think people have come here to actually listen to what you gathered from the nature, absolutely. But you have been able to take a parallel to how you can build
Yeah.
it from your thing as
Yeah.
you're connected with nature.
Yes, one more I can share something that I spoke this week. I was watering the plants in my balcony. So you all know money plant, right? It needs a support to grow. So one of the branch was touching the floor. So I just took it and tied it with the grill of my balcony. And I know that now it's okay, it will grow stronger and it will grow better. And that's something, and that made me reflect that how important it is for us to be coachable. Because when we are open to receive lessons or guidance or coaching from someone who knows better, we grow, we flourish. But sometimes we restrict ourselves so much that we feel that why should I share or why should I receive help or support from someone or guidance from someone? They are infiltrating my territory. We think that way. But when we are coachable, when we are open to receive those guidance from someone, it it does magic actually. We grow better. So that was a lesson I shared from the simple money plant. Um, then yeah, snail is something that never stops. It just, even if you keep something as a barrier, it will slowly move. It will not uh, try to get panic or something. Like, it will keep moving. Whatever happens, it will slowly move towards the destination. So it is again the patience, that we need to have patience. It is not that immediately you will get an outcome. You have to slowly move towards your destination. You need not rush, run, or panic. You have to be patient and slowly move towards your destination. Same way, sometimes we ask for appreciations or applause from others or approvals from others to work on our dreams or work on something that we really want to do. But if you see nature, sun never asks any approval or any permission to rise. It daily, every morning it rises for us. Same way, flowers never wait for before blooming. It never think that if someone is watching it or not. It just blooms. So that was one lesson I shared, that all these things gives us that signal that you don't need to have approvals or or some appreciations to move forward. You just keep going and do whatever your heart says or whatever you want to do. So, yeah. You all can follow the page if you are on Instagram. So daily, I share it daily.
Yeah, I wrote an article in my website.
Okay.
Nature's behavior is a reflection of man's selfish attitude.
Yes.
It's raining in January. It
Huh.
doesn't rain at all.
Yes.
Is it because of this El Nino effect? What is it you have to share about this?
Yes, definitely. We say climate change. Everyone knows about climate change. And now Chennai is not like Chennai. Chennai, usually it's hot, hottest or hotter. Like, only that is the climate we have in Chennai. But now in December and January, it was so cold. And this is a very clear indication of climate change, how it is changing. We may be enjoying that, oh, nice weather today, but it is something very unusual that is happening. And this is a signal that nature is trying to give us because of our activities, whatever we are doing with nature. We always forget that nature, more than nature needing human beings, we need nature. We cannot survive without it. And we always forget that thing. And of course, these all these what we are seeing are because of the climate change.
Anyone wants to ask any question, please go ahead.
Can ask first. Okay. Namaskar, and thank you very much for asking us to get back to nature. Those lucky to be in Theosophical Society are almost there.
Yes.
But thank you for reminding all of us. Many of us have come from outside. My question goes back again to your morning walks. I think that is becoming the topic of the day. And you said that you saw a twig or a branch of a tree which had fallen, and the tree is doing by itself to repair it. It is not over concerned, it is not over worried. So let's not be over worried about all the things that we see around. But somehow, if I talk of myself, I am really concerned. If
Okay.
America and Israel attack Iran, I feel I have not done sufficient in my life to stop it. So, I mean, you and me both are part of the universe. How do you reconcile this?
Yeah, see, that is why I'm saying that it's all about perspectives. We get different perspectives when you observe and reflect on these things around nature. So, usually, even I used to worry a lot about the people if there is something wrong happening with people around me or in my family or my friends. We sometimes think too much. We overthink a lot, and we think maybe I didn't do much to help them. I couldn't do, and we start blaming ourselves. So that was the point that I wanted to talk about. That it's not that you are responsible always. Sometimes it's okay to leave them on their own, because everything has their own process to follow, and they will grow or they'll fall. So we need to accept that. Let's not penalize ourselves always. Let's not punish ourselves that I didn't do, I should have done this, I could have controlled, because time means now, it has gone now, you can't change the situation. So better to leave it on its own. So that was the perspective that I received when I saw that, and I shared. So you may think differently. It's all what you receive and what you reflect. So yeah, so that was the thought behind it.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
you are more concerned with the mangrove, and we have a very good brackish water here. And how do you think about the mangroves? They are reducing, and we are
Yes.
missing the
Yeah.
fauna of the mangrove.
Yes, definitely. Many people, they don't even know mangroves. They don't know what are mangroves. Even my kids, they never heard about mangroves until I took them to that place. So it's a very one of the strongest ecosystem we have in the world, the mangrove ecosystem. And not only sorry, it's my phone ringing. Alarm. Yeah. No, no, no. It's an alarm for something else. Yeah, please. Thank you. Yeah, so mangrove ecosystem is one of the strongest ecosystem because now, as I mentioned about net zero, carbon emission and all. So mangroves are one of the strongest ecosystem because they do a lot of carbon sequestration, and that is something which people, they don't know. And because we are exploiting the place where we run our rehabilitation programs for mangroves, it is near Pulikat, Minjur, Pulikat, yeah, Ponneri, that area. And there, if you see, because of the recent developments, it is also a port area. Ennur port is there because of all those interventions, human interference. Many tribal localities were associated with those mangrove forests because they are dependent on that, on the fisheries. Their livelihood is that. So everything is getting destroyed because of the interventions, because of the recent developments happening in that place. And now, and that directly affects the biodiversity of that area, and loss of mangroves and other. If you see, that area is particularly known for fisheries, aquaculture, a lot of prawn culture and fishes and crabs. A lot of business happened there, but now because of all these interventions, all these things are reducing, and people who are associated with these forests, they are also moving out from the place. So it is badly affecting that, definitely. And of course, when people are ignorant, when they ignore that this ecosystem is so important because it controls, now we are running behind. Now all these IT industries, they are coming up with carbon credit projects and all these things because they want to get back and they want to run their business, basically, in simple words. I'm not sure whether they are actually concerned about the nature. They want to run, and that is what is happening. So now there is no point when you are compensating by finding different patches and growing trees here and there, when the natural environment is not safe. You are just destroying that natural environment, and when now it is alarming, and when your work is getting affected, and when it is a question on your sustainability, you are thinking about nature sustainability. So it's a very difficult thing which is happening around, but yeah.
If you say we are losing many species in the nature, don't you think we may not write history of nature and then history of human being itself? Don't you think so?
Yes.
It's a serious issue.
Yes, very serious issue. I completely agree.
So how are you going to document all those things? Anybody is there to document the knowledge of those species at present?
Yes, there are
And
many
thus-
people who are working on such things, sir. They are documenting, they are working, they are trying to find if there are any, remains or any kind of species, like they are many species they have reduced in numbers, are endangered. They are trying to find how to revive. There are many projects, like Project Tiger is a basic example. So similarly, there are projects for turtles, there are projects for sparrows. So a lot of people are working on.
They are part of history.
Yes, yes.
That is how I look at it.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue you are raising.
Yes, serious issue, and it was there in one of my morning walk talks also. I was walking and I saw these babblers. There are birds called babblers. They are little bigger than sparrows. They belong to the same group of birds to which sparrows belong. So I was just thinking that nowadays we hardly see sparrows. We don't see sparrows, and my daughters, they don't even know what is sparrow. They say any small bird is a sparrow. Because they have read that name somewhere in their books, but they don't know what is sparrow. So I was thinking, when these babblers were jumping around, they were playing, that we never know in future whether we'll see these babblers also. They are also from the same group of birds. So I was thinking that even these birds may not exist after few years, because that is how we are exploiting nature. So let's not do that. Let's not make them part of history. Let's, create an environment that is safe for everyone, for us and for our neighbors too. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I studied in Madras Christian College, Department of Zoology. And in the 70s, we had a marine ecological station in Pulicat. And we, as students, always went on site, stayed there, and did, actual hands-on work, and looked at nature and did projects. Similarly, Madras University, again, a marine biological station on the ocean front. We never sat in the classroom. We went for a walk, looked at things. And that's the way we studied. We had a fantastic program. And the line to remember is nature to nurture.
Wow.
And I add one more word, nature to nourish.
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing.
And the last thing, when you look at the word nature, what do you see? There is another word in nature. Do you see the art in nature?
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that, ma'am. I completely agree with that methodology, because I studied in Punjab University, where I did my MPhil, PhD. Even during my MSc, our professors used to take us to the field. We used to work there. We used to excavate the ant mounds and termitariums and all those things. So we have seen that, and that is why maybe we feel that connect. We know that how intricate nature is, how it builds such great communities of ants and all those things. So that connect is there. And nowadays, that is what I mentioned during in the initial slides, that we have built a wall, psychological wall or digital wall, where we are restricting indoors. Our kids are not going out. They are not connected to nature. Even all of us, many of us, we are like that. So that is one way that when we spend time with nature, when we try to understand or learn more about it, definitely it changes everything. You feel more connected. And that is the best way, and that's why in MFI, Mangrove Foundation of India, we have started those activities. We invite colleges and schools, students and or other organizations to come there, visit, do volunteering in plantation, mangrove site visit and all that. So it really makes a lot of difference. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing that.
Come from Australia to your lecture.
Yeah, I can go on sharing my experiences. I document like many kind of things like this. But something from the recent ones which I can share is I went to this place called Valparai. And during the travel, the driver told me, I mean, a lot of people cross elephants at various times, and sometimes it's very risky to cross, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So he gave me an insight into when to cross and when not to cross.
Okay.
Is he said, if the elephant is standing with the tail up like this and one ear like this, then it means it's really angry. So you're not supposed to cross. But if it's flapping,
Yeah.
if it's flapping and eating, then it's perfectly all right to cross at that time. So these kind of things, that's one thing. And something from like people who have seen Tamil films in the 70s, 60s and things like that would have come across this dialogue. I'll say it in Tamil and translate in English for others. So this king usually asks the Amaichar, Amaichare Madam Ummari Porigarada. That means that he is asking his minister if it's raining 3 times in a month.
Okay.
So people don't really understand why is he asking this question. And only much later on in life, I came to notice the real meaning of this is because the efficiency or the richness of the land is dependent on the cycle where it rains for 1 day, then the ground absorbs for 9 days, then it rains for again 1 day, absorbs. So in this 27-day cycle, it rains for 3 days and the ground absorbs. And that's the reason for this dialogue, for the king to ask the minister to find out whether his thing is, like that. So, and very recently, while walking in this park, I saw these 2 insects. I have documented, I'll show you that insect as well. The whole universe actually works with this pulling and pushing effect. So if you see anything in the universe, it's like that in that object. So these 2 insects where actually one is pushing and one is pulling, one is pushing, and it's trying to get things away into that place. And if one stops, there's a disaster. So how it adjusts like that? Finally, the 4th one, which I thought I'll share, is in the place where I live, there's lots of seagulls. And while walking, you always notice one leg, the seagull always puts it under its feather. I used to notice why it is doing it, but then I came to know that it's conserving the energy by putting that one leg into the feather, and so like that, you keep on documenting so many things in nature. It's quite beautiful.
Yes.
Everything comes into life, and you work with nature and in tandem to be in with rhythm of the, to understand. And finally, the first thing which you asked us to close the eyes and see, observe and things like that. Now I can tell you, I wish this whole room was kept open with all the doors open with no AC and all those things.
Yes.
So it's more in a natural environment.
Thank you so much for such a good talk. And I often go to scientific talks, so this was very good, a new taste to sort of look things from a different perspective. So thank you again for sort of rekindling that idea. So what I'm going to ask is maybe not just to you, but maybe all. And this is my first visit to Theosophical Society, so it's on towards a little bit of the philosophical side of things. And I was just wondering, in your thoughts when you do morning walk and others also, particularly Indian culture and the way the whole society has, we have always sort of been, even when I studied abroad, in India we always see that we have always been close to nature. All our gods are some form of reincarnation. We have trees which are very, from a religious perspective, so there are so many festivals year round. So nature is embedded in our cultural psyche, in our history, in our way how we even wake up and we touch, some people used to touch the earth before they get
Yes.
up in the bed. So all of this is inbuilt in our sort of culture and society, it's sort of second nature in a way. How we have come to a point where we are so many missed calls from nature and we are forgetting, ignoring. Is it a lacuna of the way our society has progressed, or is it a gap from our education institutions, from the school to all the way, or is it just very simple individual? And I'm saying this from a perspective, is it okay to just put all the responsibility on individual, or is it also systemic, where institutionally societies like Theosophical Society, other religious society, we have such a huge, religion is such a huge thing in India, and in Chennai, I have been here 4 days and I visited 3 temples already. That
Yes.
tells you the kind of importance religion.
Yeah.
And should we think about more critically, how do religion becomes a vehicle to connect back to nature? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we can get some better answers from the audience also, but I would like to say from my what I think about it. Yeah, definitely, I think it is a collective effect. It's not. It's. I mean, an individual is not the only reason to blame. Uh, when like ma'am was telling about the education, the kind of education she was receiving, it was more close to nature. Like even when I was doing my research or even post graduation, I used to work like that. But nowadays, if you see the World Environment Day celebration in school, it is like calling one keynote speaker and they are done. So maybe a shift in that mindset also is required to change the situations. I feel definitely it is a collective effect. We can't blame only the human beings, and definitely with due course of time, we also take things for granted. We are used to that setup or the system. Maybe we become part of that system, and it leads to this big crisis. But if someone wants to answer that question, I think.
I think it's basically selfishness and enormous desires, I think, is the root cause of all this peril. I think this is some substance of the whole thing. It's systemic problem.
Yeah.
It is to be done on an individual basis. Like you said one word, you have to love nature. Just like the way you love your dad, your mother, your children, your wife. You have to love environment, because finally environment, this is the infrastructure in which we all live.
Yes.
And as you rightly said, it is an interconnected thing. Supposing the plants fail or the bees don't buzz, I think we are all gone in a few weeks or few months.
Yeah.
I think it's the selfishness and the greed of individuals which has to come down. I think desires have to be there, but excess desire and excess attachment and excess ambitions and avarice, I think all those things will have to stop. I think it has to be attempted only on an individual basis, I think.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Theosophical Society, because you mentioned it's an individual or institution, so Theosophical Society is doing its part. And one more vision of our president, I mean, this was the Wisdom for Living, but another of his visions that is now wonderfully working is ADR Eco Development Project. And in that project, children from various schools are brought here on a regular basis, and they are taken around and not just through a lecture or talks, but they are taken around in the campus with a structured method. There is a blue-green center where they are taught how the water catchments and insects and birds, and so I think that is very well on its way. And if anybody wants to add to that, so yeah, just wanted to let you know.
I didn't introduce myself, but I came to Chennai 5 days ago because I started a new position here at MS Swaminathan Research Foundation. And I just started as a director of their wetlands program.
Fantastic,
so
sir.
I would be really looking forward to extend this partnership. We have a very good program ourselves, saying each or every child a scientist. where students from corporation schools come for 15-day in-house and they are taken to laboratories and shared some of the things. So if this, as you said, this initiative is already going, we would love to see how we can partner and do this. And on 2nd of February, there is World Wetlands Day. We are also organizing a sort of walk to this ADR wetland park is also there. So we are also taking a time to give them an immersive feeling, not necessarily teaching through education things why wetlands are important, but how they feel. Because the feel is what they will take back. And if that feeling, if we are able to reach in their heart more so than in their mind, then hopefully they will come back and that will spread the whole thing.
True, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, all of you. I think we can close this session.
Thank you.
I would like to thank Aswathy and Mr. Tim Boyd for... Actually, I want to say something.
One more thing about the photographs I forgot to mention. The photographs that you saw in the presentation is the real photos clicked by one of my friend. He's a wildlife photographer and an environmentalist. His name is Dr. Bhupesh. He runs an organization called Universal Eco Foundation in Pondicherry at Auroville. So he's having a museum inside. So if anyone visits Pondicherry, you all can go and see that place. Thank you.
Actually, Ashwati wanted to talk about emotional intelligence because that's where I think she's doing her job. But I persuaded her to go into this, her core area, which is zoology and mangrove forest and all that, so that she immediately said yes, and I got approval from Mr. Tim Boyd. Thank you, Ashwati. Thank you, all of you, for coming here. And we have our next Wisdom for Living program on the 7th of February, and I'll be the speaker. I'll be talking about retirement. Not many people talk about retirement. So I'll be talking about retirement, and I was very happy to share that I have done my PhD in retirement. I told this to Mr. Tim Boyd. 15 years ago, I retired. No, from work, from monetary work, but my life retirement is continuing. I invite Mr. Tim Boyd to give a memento to Dr. Aswathy as a token of gratitude. Sir. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.